Okay, I'm just gonna come out and say it. This pedal here has just saved my sanity and my pedal board. Let's be real, guys. Most of us aren't fortunate enough to have tons of room, massive spaces where we can store 3,000 effect pedals, 3,000 amps. That's just not happening in today's world for most of us normal people, unlike some of the people you see on YouTube. But that's a different question. So this pedal really got my attention when it first came out. I cannot deal with complicated. That's both in my personal life, if you want to know it, and in my playing. I need something that is simple, that I don't spend most of my time going through menus, going through presets, tweaking. I cannot deal with that, and I think a lot of you guys also can't deal with that. And not to put words in Line 6's mouth, but ultimately, I think that's the aim of the HX1. Immediately when you unbox it, you will notice this thing is tiny. Let me just grab a random pedal to show you how small it is. Hang on. Got it. You see? Just about the same height, just a little bit wider, but overall tiny. But most importantly, it packs over 200 effects from the Line 6 flagship Helix series. So we're not talking about dumbed down effects. We're not talking about effects that have been made kind of to fit because of the memory, blah, 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 into this. No, they are the Helix Big Brother effects. They're exactly the same. There's no difference. What you do get is delays, reverbs, tons of overdrives. You get the historical kind of legacy Helix pedals as well. You get modulations. You get wahs, filters, vocals, everything you could ever wish for. And if you plug in an expression pedal, then even better. You can use that wah with the expression pedal or pitch shifting, whatever it is. Let's start with the general construction and first impressions. As I said before, it's not much bigger than a Boss pedal, just a little bit wider. The construction with the new Line 6 stuff is really good. Very solid, good weight to it, nice and simple layout. The on-off button and the flux button feel really good. It's a very solid piece of kit that you can reliably put on your pedal board, gigging, studio, whatever you want. It's not going to let you down. So the buttons, as I said, are very simple. You got three main ones up here next to the LCD screen. They each control, like a normal effects pedal, drive, boost, and bright. For example, I'm in the kinky boost. Obviously, it depends what kind of pedal you're in. And then for additional parameters, you can go right and left. But the real cool thing to note here is that you're not menu diving, you're not clicking through things. You have these dials here that actually relate to what you see on the screen. So if you are changing on the go, for me, that's a massive, massive plus. Then you have the main button here, which is multifunction. You can press it and you get the full list. Then you go right and left to select your effect, whatever it can be. The home button goes back, but also you can save your presets. Very, very simple. The light shows you whether the effect is on and off. If you press the two together for some time, you get a very handy tuner. Then you also get, going back, if you go through the menu, you have a mono, a stereo looper. You have also another looper that kind of adds effects to it, where it chops things up randomly. Really cool if you're a solo performer. Very cool to have. Let's have a quick look at the connections. If we start here, this is where your expression pedal goes. Very simple. And just to note, a really positive things about the Helix and the Helix One is that you're not tied into the brand as such. Yes, you can get the Helix expression pedals, the additional foot switches, etc., but you don't have to. For example, I just want to show you this. I've been using this M Audio expression pedal. This costs nothing. It's so cheap. Get it on Amazon if you want, and it works fantastically well with this. So it's compatible with most expression pedals, even if you've got one. So just bear in mind that it really allows you to kind of use whatever you have, if you have something, though it's really, really handy. Moving to the other side, we have the MIDI in and out. So you can control fully MIDI programmable, you can control it by MIDI. Really, really cool. Then the wonderful stuff happens here. You've got stereo in, stereo out, USB-C to update all the usual stuff, and the standard 9-volt wall plug, as with any pedals. So you've got no problems having to use a different wall plug. That's about it, guys. It's really simple, well built, and just very, very easy to use. And that's the first thing I want to say. I didn't have any experience with this. I got it, plugged it in, bashed, done. No manuals, nothing. It is so intuitive. That's what you want. You don't want to have that paralysis where you're going through things. So those of you that know this pedal already will be asking yourself, why hasn't he said it? Why hasn't he started off with it? Well, I haven't started off with the fact that the catch, if you want to call it a catch, is that you can only run one effect at a time. And that's in the name, HX1. I personally do not see that as a big deal. I personally think that's the concept behind this. This is supposed to be a pedal version of a Swiss Army knife. You don't have a Swiss Army knife that does 300 things at the same time. You use it for one purpose at the time. And that's what this is. Throughout this video, you have heard and seen me use the HX1 in various ways. I tried to play some maybe slightly more unconventional effects that I found are really good. Sadly, it's a little bit impractical to go through all 250 or so effects that are on board, because I think you guys have better things to do with your time. I just wanted to show you some of those effects. For example, with the pitch shifting one, I used the M Audio expression pedal, the acoustic sim, etc. Some of those effects that normally sound a bit off on this were really good, because this has not been diluted in any way. And I think it's really important to say it is the full Helix sound in terms of effects. without those sound samples, I essentially used it in a very simple way with just either the Friedman IRX or the UA Lion as an amplifier and the HX1 doing all the heavy lifting. So in the case of the UA Lion, I used the HX1 in front of it with the overdrives, those effects that work well before your preamp stage. So that was a very simple connection straight through like you would with any overdrive pedal. With the Friedman, slightly different. Because it has an effects loop as well, I connected it with the 4-cable system. So having the ability to run some of the effects before the amp and some of the effects in the effects loop of the amp. So that worked really, really well. And it's a fantastic thing that Line 6 made it so easy to run it with a 4-cable method and really simple to just toggle through and save your presets, whether you want to run it pre or post. Very, very simple to do. Let's just do it live. I'll show you. Let's go to the, what do you usually run post? A delay, right? You don't want a delay pre. And let's go to a dual delay. Nice and easy. You can see that. All you have to do is press the settings button here, the central one, go to the right, and it says insert position. And all it is, you toggle it pre or post. That's it. And you save it, you're done. It will remember that patch. And if that's the effects you want to use, pre or post, it will go there. So it's in those little details, I think, that Line 6 got this completely right. Just before we start wrapping this up, I did want to talk about 2 additional things that are really interesting on this. And quite frankly, I haven't really seen anything, especially with the first one, like it. And that's the flux control. And on this second foot switch here, if you want to go from one effect to the other, what the flux does is by pressing it down, it allows you to morph into the second effect real time. So you don't have a kind of start, stop again. You can decide the curve, you can set it the way you want within the parameters, and it morphs into the second one seamlessly. And again, what a fantastic idea for a live gigging musician, or even in the studio, you're recording. That's what you want, to go from one effects to the other. The second feature is the snapshot mode. And again, really, really smart thinking there, because what it allows you to do is take a snapshot of, say, the delay, how you want it in the verse, how you want it in the chorus, and you can toggle between it when you are going through the song. So again, it gives you that flexibility to move, not having to tweak, but move the effects parameters for a chorus, for a verse. Everything is done really logically. Maybe what they're trying to do is compensate by the fact that you can only have one effects at a time. But this is a great solution because it gives you the ability to kind of change between those effects during the song, but with the snapshot mode. So really cool. Okay, so it's time now to draw up our conclusions, go through those pros and cons, and think about whether this is the right choice for you and whether you should spend your money on it. Let's start with the pros on a nice and positive note. Obviously, the first thing, we've got to mention it. It's perfect in terms of size. It frees up your pedal board incredibly well. It's a really great addition to anyone's pedal board. It has tons and tons of effects, more effects than anyone would ever use, and they are all top-notch quality. They are pristine. Line 6 has evolved this series. This series comes from an evolution of the delays, the various Line 6 models, which pro players still to this day use. And please go watch some of the other YouTube videos by pro players. They are still using the Line 6 delays. And there's a reason why, because they sound fantastic. And that is the bottom line. What you are getting here is the best quality in terms of effects that you can actually get. I don't particularly like Line 6 amp sims, etc. They just sound weird to me. But this, wow, the models for the effects, overdrives, the fuzzes, all of them are really, really incredible. I hate fuzzes when they're modeled into multi-effects. They always sound crap to me. This is the first time that I've actually found some fuzz pedals in there, and especially the kind of early fuzz pedals that sound really good. I'm actually thinking of selling my tone bender type pedal because of this. So really, really good. I can't recommend it highly enough. We talked about the ease of use as another pro during the video, and the only thing I want to add there is I have experienced and I've witnessed a lot of session musicians, pro musicians, playing stuff exclusively because they were easy to use. You are going into rehearsal, you are going to a recording scenario. Look, unless you've got everything prepared, you do not want to waste time, because I know it's a cliche, but time is money in the sense that someone is paying you, they want the job done quickly. And if they ask for something that you don't have already set up as a preset, this does it, because you can just quickly go in, you don't have to menu dive, you don't have to save 300 things, it's got it. So it gives you that confidence to just dial it in very quickly, whatever amp you're using, and it's there. You can feel it. You don't have to overly rely on menu diving, screens, etc. This, I think, is the hidden secret of what pro musicians use, this kind of pedal, which is why the original Line 6 kind of multi-effects pedals or delays were so popular with pro musicians. And finally, again, we've got to talk about the price. It may seem on paper that $250 is a lot for this pedal. But if you think about it, 250 effects more or less, is that $1 per effect? It's really, really quite good, isn't it, value-wise, if you think about it that way. But it's not just that. It's a quality product that will keep on getting updated because you have the reliable factor of Line 6. It's not a company that's going to go out of business tomorrow. It's got that longevity there, and I personally don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to spend $250, especially when you consider that a decent distortion, overdrive, whatever alone is about $250 anyways. So I find the price very affordable if you think about it in the long term, if you think about everything that it actually gives you. Moving on to the cons. Look, I guess it's all depending on what you want from this product, because it is HX1, which means you can run one effect at a time, as we mentioned. So if you're a person that uses multiple effects, if your sound is very complicated, you know, and each of us has a different preference in terms of sound. If that's what you're looking for, then obviously this is not going to work. If you want an all-in-one solution, again, this is not going to work. But it really just does depend what you are looking for. And this does lead us nicely to, you know, the ultimate question. Who is this for, and should I buy it? In the time that I've had it, I've really kind of rediscovered a little bit the feeling that I got with real effects pedals, so real overdrives, real delays on the board. But this is, for me personally, a massive game changer, and it's an enormous step forward, just in line with the other advances that have happened with amplifiers. Exactly the same. It has followed that trend very, very well. Personally, in the studio, I now tend to run most of my sounds through pedal or preamp pedals like this, like the Friedman, because it allows you to have a versatility in terms of sound, maintaining a very authentic tube feel and a slightly less artificial sound. For me, it sounds better and it's more convenient in a recording scenario. All the big companies have now come up with these pedals, and Line 6 are effectively following that, just with the effects side of it. So this, for me, is a perfect match for a session player, for a recording artist who's recording at home or even recording in the studio, because your pedal board now can simply, think about it, preamp, amp, IRs loaded up in here, you're done. That's all it is. Most people, I think, will be satisfied with the fact that you have that limited choice and you need to make a decision on what effect you have. So should you get it? Is the Line 6 HX1 the only pedal that you need? The one to rule them all? Well, it really depends what you want. It really depends what kind of setup you have. And that's the thing, this pedal depends on your vast setup. You can use it with a separate modeling unit. You can use it just to add an extra delay, or if you prefer some of the top pro reverbs and delays in here to your normal amp modeling, you can use it that way. But also you can use it with preamps, you can use it with a standard amp head. Millions of ways of using this. You can combine it, the 4-cable method, very, very flexible. So I think it's definitely one of those things that is a studio essential for anyone who records at home or wants to set up a studio. For me, this is an essential pedal to have, because there are those effects that you will use once in a while and it's got it. But not only does it have it, because a lot of other brands have it, but it has it with the best quality, with the Helix quality of, units that cost $2,000. It has killer sounds. It's an all-in-one solution, really. And I don't think you could want anything else from this. Okay, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Keep clicking those buttons, subscribe, all of that stuff. Drop me a comment. Let me know if you guys find it limiting to have one effect at a time. I personally don't, but I'd be really interested to have your perspective on it. Also, if you're interested in one of these, I'll put all the links below. Some of them are affiliate links, and it would really help if you bought it through there. No extra cost to you, just helps me get further gear. Again, this is not a sponsored video. This is just me buying stuff that I like, that I play, and that I think you guys will like, most importantly. And I think you guys will definitely like the HX1. So, as always, thank you again. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned, because I've got a really big one coming for you. And again,
it's a pro thing.